Hey guys. So, for the past few months, I have been very, very intently observing the chatter, kind of the noise that's been going on Twitter. Very, very specific comments, directed at Jews, directed at Israel. In particular from something called the woke right, the entity called the woke right, the group of people. To be honest with you, I think a lot of these people are possibly bots or paid trolls or, Pakistani, Chinese, Russian, from Russia. Different countries, right? But let's just assume for a second that they're real. That you have a bunch of these people, especially in America, who don't like us very much, who've been keeping their sentiments kind of under wraps, and now they have an outlet, right? They have an outlet, they have a reason, it's been normalized, whatever, the reason is. And by the way, guys, it's not a left or right thing, right? So, I like to propose something to everybody, really. It's not just to them. Or rather, I want to express my real sentiments. What I'd like to see happen. I actually want this, folks. I want it. Believe it or not. And I'll tell you why I want it. I want all of the anti-Semites in the Western world today, particularly in America, to try to act on how they feel. I want them to try to do the same thing as they did 80 years ago. Actually, it's over 80 years ago now. And then this time around, when they try, the Jews will invariably realize that the authorities are not going to help them. The authorities in their host countries, so to speak. And so most Jews will what? Make Aliyah to Israel. And you're saying, well, Tzvi, that's wishful thinking. They won't. Folks, if ultimately, much like, who's that guy in The Godfather? The Jewish guy? When push comes to shove, we only got one place to go, right? So, my friends, I want that to happen. And I could say, well, Tzvi, doesn't it mean that Mashiach is coming? We know the whole thing from our sages that, once there's more Jews in Israel than there is in the world. And there are in the world, that means Mashiach is here. It's supposed to come. That's one of the kind of stipulations, if you will, or simanim. Folks, let's put that aside. Let's put eschatological, dreams aside for a second. My whole thing with this is I would like to see, just for my own curiosity, played out in real time, what will happen to the countries that kick out a majority of their Jews, that drive out a majority of their Jews. I want to see what would happen to America. And folks, I'm not saying this as like a thing of like bragging about Jews or bragging about, this and that. This whole thing of like, sometimes you'll hear like people in relationships, oh, I want to see how you're going to survive without me, that kind of thing. Folks, I'm speaking from history. There was a Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Bayezid II, and he has a famous phrase, and he said, how can you call King Ferdinand, a wise king, if he impoverished this country and enriched mine. Right after he kicked out the Jews. Folks, this is an Ottoman Sultan, a Muslim saying this. Folks, did you know that when the Jews left, this is after the fall of the Soviet Union, when the Jews left Georgia, the Republic of Georgia, Georgia, the Georgians got very upset at us. Why? Because their economy collapsed. And they were under the impression that we ran the damn thing. Maybe when we ran it, they were complaining. I don't know. When we stopped running it, they complained even more. You left us in shambles. Folks, there should be a study conducted. I really wonder what happens to the countries that kick out their Jews. Well, let's take a look at what happened to Morocco, what happened to every country in North Africa, what happened to Syria. What happened to Lebanon? Used to be Beirut was the Paris of the Middle East. Excuse me. What happened to Iraq? Right? Folks, 1 million Jews left the former Soviet Union. Look at the fucking place, pardon my language. I mean, it wasn't that great before that. It's not like Jews were running anything anyway over there. And they didn't expel us when we wanted to leave. Folks, but you can conduct a study and you can just, figure out what will happen. Look around, look all over history. History is replete with this, right? Folks, so I just, honestly, at this point, I want it to happen. Yeah, I want it to happen. They're going to keep talking and folks, honestly, I got to tell you, we're just delaying the inevitable. These guys are going to keep talking and talking and talking and talking. What are they calling it now on Twitter? The Great Noticing. This is the Great Noticing, We're noticing now. We notice stuff now. It's always the same names. Something Berg, right? Folks, you saw with Grok, right? I don't know how this happened, but, basically Grok started, turned into like a woke right, whatever, right? Troll. And just started saying, oh, it's always the same names. It's always the same names. Folks. Okay. We're just delaying the inevitable. And then on the left side, left-wing side, you have like Mamdani. Folks, we're just delaying with all these complaints and all these oh, I can't believe this horrible anti-Semitism, this, that. Folks, we're just delaying the inevitable. Just like, in every place. They're gonna physically come after us. They already are. I'm talking about en masse. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, folks. It's gonna happen. So I want it to if it's gonna happen, I want it to happen. And then I want to see what happens to the places that it happens in. Where we're pushed out. Let's see, folks. Let's see. Yeah. You want to call me accelerationist? You want to call me whatever? Folks, at this point, if you're a Jewish person and you're living in America or any other place in the Western world, and you think that things are going to turn around for you, especially if you're in Europe, I don't know. I don't know what delusion you're living in. France, England. If you didn't see what just happened in Spain the other day, Pamploneses, this whole Pamplona running of the bullshit. And this lady's like, Viva Palestina! And then everybody was like, folks, it looked like literally the orc army. It looked like Lord of the Rings, like the orcs. They're just ready to destroy. Folks, I mean, Europe is gone. Entirely. It's gone. So yeah, my friends, I don't know. You can say, Tzvi, well, there's a lot of people who support Jews in Israel. What is it, 70% in America support Jews in Israel? Folks, you don't need a majority of people in said country to hate Jews in order for that country to expel Jews, or in order for Jews to feel threatened enough to leave. You don't need even 50% of people. Just like you don't need even, like, I don't know, more than 10% of people to push all kinds of, demagoguery and push, let's say, Bolshevism, communism, for that country to just be taken by its grip, right? You don't need that. Excuse me. So, my friends, really, at this point, I'm just like, let it happen already. Why are we beating around the bush, folks? Why are we beating around? Excuse me. Why are we beating around the bush? Allergies. Just, let's play this scenario out and see what happens. Really, I can assure you, it's not going to be camps. It's not going to be what was. For sure, it's not. It's honestly probably not even going to be, God forbid, pogroms or anything like that. But Jews are going to feel threatened enough to, get out of Dodge, as it were. And honestly, I think it's time anyway. Alright, guys. I said my piece, and let me know what you think in the comments section. Because at this point, it's just like, if you look at enough of these comments, if you read enough stuff, you start to realize that these people are not going away. They're not going away. Yeah, they represent a minority in each side of the political spectrum, but they're not going away. Especially not the guy who's running for mayor, right? Or the, most famous and kind of most financially powerful city in the world, right? Yeah, so we have to just accept the inevitable. And when we leave, the only one's going to be crying at this time around is going to be them, the people who kicked us out. And we'll be home, yeah, whatever home looks like. However home is, right? It's not an easy place to live, but it's home, right? All right, guys. Talk to you soon.